The shooting of 7-year-old Christian Hicks on his doorstep last Monday horrified the country. At the boxing club where he used to train, they've been raising money for him. His grandfather dropped in a thank you card the other day.
We've opened a Just Giving page, and that's to support the family during the Christmas time, just so they can get them some presents and have a decent Christmas, really, to take their minds off the thing that's happened to them.
And how is Christian now?
He's fine. We had a report yesterday that he's up and walking a little bit. He took a couple of steps yesterday, which doesn't surprise us with Christian because he's very tenacious.
Christian's recovering, but there are fears there could be more violence in the area. It's believed the real target was his father. Manchester has had a history of gun violence. Over the last decade, many thought that was all over. But there have been 21 shootings in the last 18 months in Salford, and some worry things could get even worse. Police have indirectly linked the shooting last week with the murder of Paul Massey in July, but they haven't said how. Once labelled Salford's Mr. Big, Massey was accused of involvement in the darker side of Manchester's nightclub scene in the 90s. But after serving 14 years for stabbing a man, friends say he reformed, even running for Salford mayor. Hundreds of local people turned out for his funeral to pay their respects. One theory is that before he was killed, he had been trying to mediate between gangs, but even his family say they don't know if that's true. So do you think if he was still around, this violence would still be happening?
Well, I'd like to think it wouldn't. But I don't know what's going on the streets, the violence or anything. Don't know why it's happening, but Paul wouldn't like it. He just wanted to make Salford a better place.
What do you think he would have thought about this young boy being shot in the leg, for example?
Oh, he would have been heartbroken. He's got like 8 grandchildren, 6 of them being boys, some of them round about that age.
Jason Coghlan, a close friend of Paul's who served time for armed robbery but now runs a legal services firm in Spain, says they don't know what's behind the violence, but just wish it would stop.
We wish these young guys, whoever they are, would have a look at themselves. It's something Paul said to me years ago, one of his expressions, that you wind the tape on. If you could wind the tape on, lads, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing now. You'd be able to see when you grow, when you mature and you go older, you realise there isn't any, this isn't fun and games. There isn't any kudos that's attached to this type of thing. It usually ends up with men spending long periods in prison or dead.
There's been speculation in the press that the violence here in Salford is the result of a power struggle between gangs or a turf war over drugs. But in reality, it seems it's been triggered by a personal dispute between what were originally all members of the same criminal group, and that's now escalated. We've seen sensitive police documents that describe the origin of the feud as a number of fallouts between individuals originally all members of a gang called the A-Team. We've been told that this is less a gang, more a group of friends, but police believe some members make up an organised crime group. Incidents linked to the feud include one in January when masked offenders used a chainsaw to cut off the roof of a car of an ex-girlfriend of one of the splinter group. Then in February, men wearing balaclavas and armed with a shotgun attacked 3 others in a car. In March, a man had his jugular vein severed in a machete attack. On another occasion, a grenade was thrown into someone's family home. The attacks haven't just been violent, at times they've also been sophisticated. When police searched the cars of 2 of the victims, they found that tracking devices had been secretly hidden beneath them, letting their attackers know when and where to strike. Police investigating the latest shooting say they do have some positive leads, but there's also been talk of a wall of silence around gang activities in Salford.
We absolutely do need people who know about this incident, may know about the circumstances that have led up to it, or indeed have witnessed it, to come forward to us. We haven't had a huge amount of information from the community. We do believe that people out there do know more about what has happened than they've told us.
And do you think that's because police relations with the community aren't good? And is there something that needs to be improved in the way that police relates to the community in Salford?
We are working really hard, as I've already mentioned, to improve those relationships with the community. I do think it is fair to say that there probably is some distrust of policing in certain communities that have been affected by these incidents, but we're doing everything we can to improve that.
Because of the violence going on here, police have issued a spate of what are called Osman warnings, telling people that there's a credible threat to their lives. Some have even been told to take their families out of Manchester and warned that if they don't, their children could be taken into care. We spoke to one man who had received multiple Osman warnings. We're disguising his identity as he's concerned about repercussions from the police.
The police issue them out they constantly issue them, and the opposite ones, which is to say, you're the alleged one who's going to do whatever.
So it doesn't make you worried for your safety?
No.
Your girlfriend, for example, would she was scared?
All the women are upset, yeah. One of my friends, police took his children out of school. They had no paperwork, no documentation. They was then forced out of Salford and told if they didn't leave with the children, we won't get the children.
Police wouldn't comment on the individual case, but say they have the power to act if children's lives are in danger. They're treating the incidents as an absolute priority, perhaps mindful of the area's former Gunchester reputation. Back at the Eccles Boxing Club, the guys here say it's one of the few places to give young men in the area something positive to focus on.
I'd probably say a lot of people at least even know somebody who's in a gang, or maybe some people have like relatives and stuff like that, really.
Luckily there's people like Brian in Eccles Boxing School that have facilities and places for us to go to stay off the streets and stuff and make the right choices. Just like ourselves, we've all got jobs, we all want to work hard, we don't want to be involved with crime. And we don't want kids to be involved with crime because that is the next generation, you know what I mean?
Many here are worried that there will be more shootings and more innocent lives caught in the middle. Louise says the continued violence makes her loss even harder to bear.
I wouldn't like any other family to feel the pain what me and our family are feeling right now. But if the way it's going, they are going to do, and I just want it to stop.
Some have suggested police may know who's responsible for perpetuating the feud, but don't have enough evidence against them. Key to finding that will be convincing communities who are reluctant to talk to authorities and afraid for their lives.